School teachers, to me, that's the supreme profession. I'm here tonight to thank the chair of the ad hoc committee that established the moratorium on school closure. The primary reason I cite that and took the time to come out is to give the board itself and that committee recognition. Far too often, all over the world, but particularly in the United States, people are not heard. And January 6th was not just an anomaly. It was a result of people feeling they're not heard. And when people are not heard, the frustration builds, like 1965 in Los Angeles and Watts. And there becomes an acting out. I'm supremely impressed with the ABC Unified School District Board of Education and the ad hoc committee to actually listen to people and to take a potentially militant, perhaps contentious situation and ameliorate it, deconflict it. I was thoroughly impressed. I'm a prodigy of the 1960s and 70s, so I know what can happen when things break out into conflagration. May I say to you, I'm probably at least one of the oldest people in this room. Not many people are here over 70. I heard board member you mention RTD. Ma'am, you kind of dated yourself. No one in here would know what RTD stood for. But to say that, to say this, ladies and gentlemen, when contention breaks into conflict or conflagration, you can never put the group, the society, the community back together the way it was. It just doesn't work that way. You have a very cohesive community here in Cerritos. Having lived in the monstrosity of Manhattan, even worse, Los Angeles, knowing what it's like when people are not heard, the system then has to deal with the acting out. When it reaches a certain point, then it breaks apart. You never can put it back together again the way it was before. So by having Dr. Zietlow bring the video clip in between those town hall meetings, that move was just par excellent in deconflicting a potentially explosive situation. As I wind down my comments, I cannot stress to you the glamour of your decision. It should be entered into the record in italics what you did, because you will have to at some point recall what you decided this year, because you'll need it again. And the idea of policymakers and or power brokers who actually listened. And again, in those town hall meetings, there was not one voice of dissent to say close the school. Every single presenter asked and requested that the schools not be closed, and you listened. And finally, the chair of the ad hoc committee, I believe it was Vice President Nishi, I'm not sure. No, okay, but there was another gentleman. I apologize. But I watched that committee. Every single member of that committee, their nonverbal indicated active listening. Active listening. Active listening. And then they took all of that back to the board. The board rendered a decision that, in my view, was actually brought tears to my eyes, because I come out of that era where the system didn't listen. They did not listen. You listened. So I took the time to come out representing myself, but perhaps the empathy of other community members share this view. I respect you, and forgive me for not dressing for the part before this distinguished body. I'll never do that again. But again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Thank you.